Pleasure it is to be here. I'm Patricia Polacco, and I write and illustrate children's picture books. Now, for those of you that may not know my background, I'll give you just a quick kind of synopsis. My mother's people are Russian and Ukrainian. My father's people are Irish. Go figure. I don't know quite how they got together, but they did. And coming from that background, both of these types of people are fabulous storytellers. So most of my life, I've been used to sitting and listening to stories being told. People ask me, how do you suppose you ended up being a writer? It would have to be because of coming from storytelling. When I was little, for instance, the penultimate storyteller in our household was my grandmother. And we used to sit and listen to her. We didn't watch stories being told. We sat and listened to them. Probably the second reason I ended up being an author is because guess what contraption wasn't in my house that you all have? TV. I have them now, but then no TV. So every evening we listened to wonderful stories being told. And she used to call this time of telling fire ducking. She put a fire in the fireplace in the living room. She'd go in the kitchen and pop a huge bowl of popcorn. If we were lucky, she made fudge. She'd pick snow apples off from the trees outside, and my brother and I'd go in with our little bowls, and she'd wedge apple and put in some fudge and popcorn. Then she'd say, "Go in living room. I'm going to come in and fire duck to you." And we'd go in and sit down, and she'd come in and explode into stories. I've heard all of her stories. I swear I've heard them 1,000 times over. And each time she told them, they got better. I do remember whenever she finished a story, though, my brother and I would lean into her and say, "Okay, that story you just told, is that a true story?" She'd look at us over her glasses and say, "Well, of course it's a true story, but it may not have happened." What she was saying is profound, and I do believe this. All stories are true, all of them. Whether the circumstance they're describing ever happened or not doesn't matter. The truth is the journey you take. Did it make you laugh? Did it make you cry? Did it make you wonder about things? Did it make you seek and want justice? That's the truth of the story. So, reading, however, was not that simple for me. I'll give you another insight into who I am. Many of you probably know this, but for those of you who don't, you're looking at a learning disabled student who grew up. I did not learn to read till I was 14 years old. I have dyslexia, dysnumeria, dysgraphia, and failure of sensory integration. So as a young person, had a pretty rough time in school. Couldn't identify words, couldn't hold still. I'm an advocate, as a matter of fact. I wish rocking chairs were in every classroom in our country for kids like me. Because if you're giving me information now that I'm responsible for and I have to know, I'm going to start moving while you tell me, because if I'm holding still, it just doesn't go in. I don't know how else to describe it. If you're teachers, I was a kid that would head for the swings the minute I got to school. You would have to drag me off from them. The more I would swing, the dizzier I got. The more dizzy I was, the more clarity I had. I slept with weight on me at night and would roll in bed until I was dizzy. Then I could go to sleep. This is all sensory integration stuff. I didn't know that's what it was. Didn't find out this phrase till much later in my life. But in our household, the youngest person in the house, it's interesting, usually at about 4, they will have the child stand in a room. They put a book in their hand, and the whole family surrounds them. They take honey, and they deliver it to the cover of the book. Then they'll say to the child, "Taste of this." And the kid tastes it, and then the family asks, "What does it taste like?" And the answer is, "Well, it's sweet." Then the family chimes in all together, and so is knowledge. But knowledge is like the bee that made this honey. You're going to have to chase it through the pages of a book. So for me, this was a promise I could not wait to fulfill, but it never came. I got all the way to my 14th year, and I didn't know how to read. I identified words enough so that my educators, I managed to fool them. I had a cadre of students who helped me cheat and helped me literally this was an amazing network of what we did to fool my teachers. I didn't want my teachers to know that I was dumb and stupid, because I thought if they knew that, they wouldn't like me anymore. And for me, it was vital that they care about me. So take yourself, when I was 14 years old, I was at Willard Junior High in Berkeley, California. That's when I actually learned to read. And in California, they have the semester system where you go to school until January, you have a break, and then you go back to school until June. But they changed out our teacher, and in through the door in January bounded this tall, elegant, amazing man who wore colors like this. And in those days, most teachers wore color like my pants. And his ties were bright, and he was effusive, and when he talked, he moved his arms, and he was just, when he came in, he put growing things on all the window ledges. He put posters of the masters up on the walls, and he played music during class, classical music, but music just the same, very quiet music. He had a lamp on his desk. There was ambient light, and the room suddenly became a place that was like home. It wasn't a place to go be tortured in every single day.